Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Today's guest is Lila Bennett, the Director of Marketing and
Development and Community Relations at Northeast Kingdom Human Services.
Well, this isn't your first time, but it's your first time alone on the show.
Yes.
But it was great having you on last time. And,
Thank you.
I told you I'd welcome you back on, and here you are.
Thank you for having me.
It seems to me like you were the first marketing director there.
That is true. Northeast Kingdom Human Services has never had a marketing director, and we've never really had the focus be on talking about what we do and highlighting the importance of it. But now, as society is changing and recognizing the importance of mental health and mental health care, having the ability to tell the story of what we do and why we do it is very important.
And I think it destigmatizes mental health issues.
Absolutely.
And didn't you say, I think the last time you were talking, that there's also a bit of a difference between mental illness and mental health?
Yes.
And how do you define the difference?
Okay, so mental health is something that every single one of us should pay attention to. We all need to take care of our brains. It's like it's an organ. It's just like any other part of our body. It's something that, as a culture, we haven't really given importance to before. Emotional health, mental health, mental illness is not something that necessarily affects everybody. Mental illness is more targeted. There's people who struggle with depression or anxiety or post-traumatic stress disorder or bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. The list is long of mental illnesses, and the reasons for those things are also very diverse. They can be situational. They could be from your upbringing, childhood, environment, or they could be genetic. There's a wide range of reasons for mental illness. And those things are treatable and diagnosable. Mental health is about helping people who may have daily obstacles or struggles at times in their life with major life changes or death or divorce, things like that, that happen to every single one of us. And we all, especially here in the Northeast Kingdom, we're all a pretty hardy, stubborn bunch of people, and we don't like to ask for help, and we like to kind of struggle through things on our own, and we feel like that's a sign of strength. But in reality, we all need help. And so speaking out about how it's okay to ask for help and that's actually a strength, not a weakness, helps everyone be healthier.
Actually,
does that answer your question?
Yes. I've actually seen a lot of similar ads on TV on a national level about just asking for help. Like, you know, the bottom line is if I sliced my finger open, I wouldn't be embarrassed to go to the emergency room and get it stitched up. The same way you shouldn't feel embarrassed if you just need a little help by going to your agency to talk to one of your professionals. Yes.
I think that we've normalized healthcare. Right. We all need it. Right. We all need to go to the doctor. Some people don't like to go to the doctor, and they wait and do it at the last minute. And that's the same thing with mental health care. It's like, if you wait, the problems get worse. Right. And so, yes, on a national level, we are having this conversation of take care of yourself, ask for help, come to Northeast Kingdom Human Services, talk about the things that are happening in your life that are making your life hard, and get some help to make it better.
You know, I think, even though I have my degree in psychology, I'm not a counselor. Mm-hmm. I think being a counselor, day in, day out, could bring its own struggles. Because, you know, you're having to almost absorb other people's problems. That must be an issue sometimes. You have to be careful of.
Absolutely, and I think that's one thing that we work on at Northeast Kingdom Human Services is staff wellness.
Right.
We have a wellness committee. We try to provide support to all staff because this is stressful work. We are there to hold people's problems, to help them have better lives. We hear a lot of stories of sadness, and part of our agency is supporting each other. Absolutely.
The reason I say you're doing a great job is I was a community relations writer for the hospital back when they had community relations, and I've watched you just suddenly come on the scene, and I've said, you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
And you've really you've taken this agency that has been around for 60 years, and you're really getting the word out. You're I see your marketing everywhere, and you understand to try to put the human voice behind these issues, which again I think helps destigmatize these issues.
I'm very happy to hear that the way that I'm trying to convey what we do and why we do it at Northeast Kingdom Human Services is working, because it is about being human. It is about all of us. Like, we all struggle. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you are a doctor, if you are a farmer. We are all in life working through problems. And, it's hard.
Not only does what you're doing destigmatize mental health issues, but it also destigmatizes your own agency, because it kind of unveils everything. Like, no, you're not the crazy place or whatever.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
that you are a place to go for the ordinary people. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have, it's not the crazy house.
Yeah, it's really cool, because I think that because we offer such a wide range of services, so sort of quick backstory, 20 years ago, much of people in Vermont and across the nation who have developmental disabilities, autism, just are different, who need assisted care every day. We had something called the Brandon Training School.
Right.
And the Brandon Training School is basically, an institution. And as Vermont has grown and developed these designated agencies, the Brandon Training School is closed, and it has been our goal to help all people live in their communities with the support they need to be happy, healthy, and independent. So we do that, and we have service providers who help those people. We also have clinicians who help people with mental illness, and then we also have therapists who help all of us with our mental health. And so people used to think Northeast Kingdom Human Services is the people that helps crazy people.
Right.
Well, that's one way to look at one very small sliver of what we do.
Right.
But no one is crazy. We're all people who need different levels of help, and we help everyone. And when you walk into our building, looking at it, it's so beautiful. There's plants everywhere. It's sunny, it's bright. It's a place of absolute life and vitality and health. And so, yes, my work has to do with helping people understand that we are there for all people across all demographics.
And the office is on the Crawford Farm Road in Derby now.
Yes.
And then you have another...
we have another big, beautiful office in St. Johnsbury at 2225 Portland Street.
Right.
It's kind of right on the way to the dog chapel.
Okay. So you just recently had a you just recently had an open house in Newport.
Yes.
Or the Derby, because it
Yeah,
was located in Newport for decades.
Right. And technically, our address, our mailing address is the Newport zip code, so it's confusing, but we are actually Derby.
Right.
Yes.
And so tell me about the upcoming open house in St. Johnsbury.
We are so excited about it. This is, again, it's an effort to welcome people to our building, to welcome people to see that this is a place for everyone. We will be doing tours, and we are going to have Moon 92 broadcasting from the event, cornhole, bubbles, a coloring contest with prizes. Other community partners will have North Country Hospital, NVRH will be there. Some other community partners will be there representing themselves. RCT, Rural Community Transportation, will be there with a bus. We'll have fire trucks, police cruisers, ambulances for the kids, hot dogs and ice cream provided by C&C Supermarket in Barton. We partnered with Ray and Jessica Sweeney, the owners of C&C, to provide the hot dogs and ice cream for this event. They are also business owners who believe in mental health and in supporting all people, including people with developmental disabilities.
Now, why are you hosting these events?
We're hosting these events to invite people to our buildings, to help our community see what we do, why we do it, that it's not scary, that it's not the crazy house, that we are for everybody.
Right. So hopefully they're well attended. You mentioned one thing, that the people who are going to be at it, like particularly police officers.
Yes.
Do you think that's one field that when I was a reporter, maybe it was because I had my background in psychology, I had friends who were police officers, and oftentimes I found out they were severely lacking in their knowledge of mental health issues. And I know that's a nationwide thing now. Do you know if that's getting better, or do
Yes.
you know if there's some...
It's getting better. It's getting better because we have, at NKHS, we have an emergency department.
Right.
So if anyone is having trouble, having any emergency, any kind of mental health emergency, if they are feeling suicidal, if they're having domestic abuse, there's any emergency, you can call us 24/7, all the time. You call us, and we will be there to help you. And we work in conjunction with the police force in our communities to help. And so, yes, we are having conversations with our police forces about this. And no, it's not perfect, but the conversation is open, and we're trying, and it's getting better.
Yeah, because this isn't to put down the law, but over the years, like I could think of one case they struggled with because they didn't understand the nature of PTSD in a Vietnam veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, there was for a long time, there was an officer who was also a combat veteran who also suffered from PTSD. So when this other person would be struggling with it and acting out, he was the one that was sent
To talk. Help
and
him.
but yeah, that's the one thing I noticed is that over the years that I often thought that law enforcement needed a bit more understanding about mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, their job is to enforce the law, but because I think the nature of their business, they come into a lot of...
Yes. I think that we could all do better.
Right.
But in the situations where police and emergency services are working together, they do work together.
That's good. That's really good. And I think we as a society are evolving too, because as you were saying about the Brandon Training School, I don't know if you've ever talked to the parents of people who who lived at the training school, because we might think, how did you put your kids there? Well, society actually at one time pressured these parents and insisted that this was the best place for them. And
Yes.
if you were going to keep them at home, you weren't looked highly upon.
Right.
And so then you had the Waterbury State Hospital. So we've slowly evolved, and I think we're evolving leaps and bounds at this point.
I agree, and I think, it's like everything is begun with good intentions.
Right.
And sometimes things don't work, and I think what we learned from the Brandon Training School is that that's hard.
Right.
Having that kind of situation doesn't work, that there is too much latitude for abuse and neglect, and that when you provide smaller living situations, it's like anything.
Right.
Like a large classroom of students with one teacher is not going to get the same level of education as a small
Right.
group. It's all the same, really. And so, yes, like as we've really realized that that's not effective, and we've put people back in the communities.
I've got to
People are
say,
thriving.
I was recently the guest speaker at a group called the Global Campus.
Yes.
And it's basically, filled with people who learn differently. And they also become teachers.
They
As in
do.
teachers within their group.
Self-advocates.
Right. And I seem to recall somehow your agency is involved with that group. But I have got to say, that was the most appreciative group I have ever dealt with. By the time I had to sign my autograph so many times, by the time I left there, I had an inflated ego.
Yes. So Global Campus is there to empower and support people who learn differently to speak out and become leaders.
Right.
And so many of our clients
Right.
are part of Global Campus, and they become self-advocates, and they help in the community, and they help each other, and there's conferences all over the nation. So it's an amazing thing that helps people who may not have had the tools, skills, and leadership
Right.
to learn how to become leaders, and then help other people to become leaders.
Well, the day I was there, although I was the guest speaker, there was another, there was one of its members was presenting and educating about the history of Newport. And I wrote a book about the history of Newport last year, and I sat there and listened, and she did a remarkable job at teaching the history of Newport. And she had to go out, she had to do her research, she had to do some interviews, utilize the library, and she did a remarkable job. So let's go back to the open house. I don't think we've mentioned, what time does it begin? Well, what's the date of the open house in
Okay.
St. Johnsbury?
So in St. Johnsbury, the open house is Saturday, June 29th, and it's from 9 to noon.
And that's open to
It's
everybody.
free and open to absolutely everybody that wants to come.
Right. So how about somebody, if people said, well, why do I want to go? I don't, right now everything's fine. Why would somebody want to go?
To the open house, or
Yes,
to
the open house.
To the open house, just because it's summertime and it's fun.
Right.
You don't have to want to use our services. You don't have to do anything but want to come and enjoy a hot dog and eat some ice cream and maybe learn about what we do.
Right.
But it's a community event, and the reason that we are offering it in that way is because we want our community to see that Northeast Kingdom Human Services is here as part of the community for everybody.
Right.
There will be a booth set up with all of our job offerings. So if someone wants to come and learn about employment, they can come and speak to our human resources. Also, we'll have a booth set up with all the services that we offer as well. We will also be trying to recruit people who might want to be involved in a board, to learn about how to help us provide more progressive services. So there's a lot of reasons that we'll be having this open house, but by and large, the overarching one is we want to do something fun and engaging for our community.
You know, I know we touched upon this just a bit, but I think one thing that any helping agency around here faces is sometimes we are so proud it's to despite ourselves almost all the time.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to slog through this. It's like, for example, I work with very well, I hate to use the word elderly, because I've ran into older people who in my mind are not elderly. They
I know
are
what you
vibrant.
Yes.
But still, especially if you grew up during the Depression, it's a badge of honor. I made it through the Depression with no help. I don't need it now.
I'm strong.
And so when sometimes those same people or of following generations, when they truly come up against a real roadblock, that people have to struggle to get them convinced, no, you need help and that's okay.
Yes. It's really the heart of the stigma. Pride.
Right, yeah.
I think pride gets in the way of almost everything in life.
Oh, yeah, it does.
And so for me, as the person who's trying to destigmatize mental health for our agency and in general in the community, I think I have been trying to strike at the heart of pride, of trying to take that away, that like the most successful people need help with mental health.
Right. Yeah. Okay, we only have about 3 minutes left. What more would you like to tell the folks?
Well, one thing that I'm really excited about is we just developed a new website.
Right.
It's NKHS.org, and it has quizzes on there for people who may be questioning, am I struggling with depression? Is a loved one struggling with depression or suicide, substance use?
Right.
It's beautiful. It has a lot of information on it. And so I'm really excited about our new website. I think it's helpful and informative, so people should check it out.
Right. Final words?
Thank you for having me on. The more that we get the opportunity to talk about mental health and mental illness and all the good work that Northeast Kingdom Human Services is doing, the better it is for everybody. Like, it's exciting. It's really cool that the community is starting to accept that mental health is not a sign of weakness.
And thank you for coming on the show, but also thank you for putting a voice and a face to the Northeast Kingdom Human Services.
Thank you. Yeah,
Right.
it's really rewarding.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.